Welcome back to Magic Gathering Strat. I'm Bava, and this is your introduction to Magic the Gathering Online, Part 3. Today we're going to talk a little bit about building a constructed deck and playing Constructed. Constructed, of course, includes the formats like Standard, Modern, Pauper, Standard Pauper, Legacy, all of those fun things, Block, all of those fun things where you build your own deck according to some set of rules, and play against other people who have also built their own decks. There is no, it's not like Limited where you open a pack and you have to build a deck out of that pack. You get to use any cards in your collection that fit the right rules. So for instance, for Standard, they have to be from the most recent blocks. For Pauper, they have to be commons. And for Standard Pauper, they have to be commons from the most recent block. And today we're going to focus on Standard Pauper, as we are going to be able to build any number of competitive Standard Pauper decks without spending any money. And we'll be able to play with them. And we can even win prizes if we want to participate in player-run events. So we'll talk a little bit about all of that. The first thing that we're going to do is look at our collection, and we're going to do some trading. And we're going to do some trading because we need some cards to build our Standard Pauper deck. And you'll remember we're in collection. We do have some cards that we opened, and some of these might be useful. So you could try, for instance, to build cards out of this. And you can use these sorting tools over here if you only want to look at white cards. And if you only want to look at creatures, you can use all these various sorts. If you're building a Pauper deck, then you can, so you're only looking at commons. And so here's all our white common creatures that we got in our beginner set, and we could try and build a deck out of this. But we're going to try and build a little bit more competitive list for the Standard Pauper format. So what we're going to do is sell the M14 pack that we got. And we're going to do that in the trade room. So there's a few things that we need to do. And don't worry if you didn't win an M14 pack, if you don't have one yourself, you can just use one of the event tickets. We'll try and keep our Standard Pauper deck under one event ticket. So in order to do that, you're going to want to right-click your event tickets and add all to your active trade binder. And you can find your active trade binder over here under Binders, Active for Trade. We need our tickets actively tradable so that we can essentially buy cards from bots and from people too. We're also going to add our M14 pack to the active trade binder. And that will let us sell that pack, more or less. Alright, so everything's in our active trade binder that we need. Now we're going to go over to the trade tab. And there are a number of ways that you can find good bots that are willing to buy packs. You could type in buying M14, and this will show bots or people who are buying M14 packs, and this guy's buying M14 packs for 3.7 tickets. Also called ticks is the common shorthand. This guy's selling M14 for that, but he's buying M14 for 3.5. So you can go through and try and find whoever's buying it for the most. If we could find someone who is buying a single pack for 4, that would be awesome. However, I like Dojo Trade Boosters, and I'm in fact going to add Dojo Trade Boosters as a buddy, and that way I can see when they're online. And they have reasonable prices, so they are buying M14 for $387. They're selling M14 for $394, so you can see where their markup is there, which is a reasonable price. And what this is going to do is we're going to get 3 tickets out of this, and then we're going to have 0.87 credits with Dojo Trade Boosters. So to initiate a trade, we're going to right click and we're going to hit trade. We could also double click on him, and that will open up the trade window. And we have a chat box that's opened up in my other screen. I have 0 credit with the Dojo Trade bot network, and they keep track of your credit automatically. So to sell a booster, we can either take a ticket and we find tickets over here in other products, or we can type sell into the box. I know I'm going to get 3 tickets, and I'm going to have to do this anyways, so I'm just going to find the tickets here, and I'm just double clicking to add them into my you will receive section. We'll bring this back up. He's entering buying mode, and so it lists the items. One Magic 2014 booster, 1X at 387, which is what was listed. So there's the total. I have 0 credit right now. So it says take 3 tickets and you will save 0.87 credits, 87 cents more or less. That you have to be careful about equating tickets to dollars, because they're very specifically not dollars, they are tickets. Alright, so once we've taken our 3 tickets, which we have, and he has his 1 pack there that he wants, we type done into this box. Some more text will show up here. And by confirm, we actually have to go in here, we hit submit. This will take us to the confirm trade. We can check one more time. We're getting 3 tickets. He's getting a pack of M14, and then we hit confirm. Alright, so now we got 3 more tickets and 87 cents of credit with Dojo Trade Boosters. So for instance, the next time we sell an M14 pack to him, we will get 4 tickets because we'll get 387 plus 87 will be 474. So we'll get $4, 4 tickets from him, and have 7.74 credit. So it adds up and it gets used that way, which is why it's important to remember which bots you trade with and which bots you have credit with, which is why adding them as a buddy can be quite handy. Now I know that I have credit with him, so that'll make me want to trade packs with him later. I wish credits weren't an issue. I wish it were a simple dollar system, but there you go. Alright, so before we do any other trading, I'm going to add the rest of my tickets to my active trade binder. I have 7 tickets now in my active trade binder. Alright, and now we want to go and we want to trade with some bots to build a deck. And like I said, we're going to build a standard pauper deck. Now you could build whatever you want. I mean, you could use Gatherer. I will bring this screen over here. We'll look on the web for a minute. Gatherer.wizards.com, and you just use the advanced search. So if you're looking for standard pauper cards, you would do rarity and common, format and standard. And if you want to build a single color deck or maybe a 2-color deck, you can choose your colors here too. So let's say we want a red deck. We'll look at red cards that are commons that are in the standard format. So it's 107, so we can sort of go through. I always like to sort by converted mana cost to sort of see. So we could, think about Crusaders. If we're building an aggressive red deck, we could do that. So you can go in and brew your own deck, absolutely. And Gatherer.wizards.com is the tool that you'll want to use to do that. Right now, for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to net deck, as it were. So we're at pdcmagic.com, and PDC Magic has player run events and are pretty much the best standard pauper events, possibly the only standard pauper events around. You can see the next one is coming up Monday, March 10th, that's tomorrow at 2 p.m. But you can see the results for the previous ones. So MPDC 2402, Dr. Chris Baker DC won with Bug Defenders, and Munsiv got second with White Weenie. The week before that, Beatnik Bobby went with a white, green, blue hexproof, and Torith got White Weenie. So I think we'll just build Torith's White Weenie deck from 2401. White Weenie is particularly strong right now. We saw that Mundisiv built Torith's White Weenie for the next week, so it's probably pretty good. So we'll just click on that, and we can get the list. So their database is a little bit off sometimes. You can see it says 52 cards here. That's because it's not counting some of the Born of the Gods cards. So it should also have 4 Nyxborn Shieldmate and 4 Akroan Skyguard. Okay, so we are going to Sometimes this feels like it wants to dock properly and sometimes it doesn't. Anyway, I'm going to take this over here. The first thing that I'm going to do actually is look at some of the cards I already have and see, because I think we have some of these. These are, after all, commons. So the first thing we're going to do is start building our deck, and we will well, there's a couple things we can do. We can start building it from scratch by doing add deck and doing white weenie. If I'm net decking somebody else's deck, I like to include their information here, and then choose our format, standard popper, and we can choose color and hit OK. And then we can start adding cards. So Auramancer was in this deck, and I know that we have some of those. We have 3 Auramancers. So we need 4. What we can do is, even though we only have 3 in our collection, we can add 4. And what you can see here is that this one has little red stripes around it, and it says this card is not in your collection. So we can sort of add as many cards as we want to here and see which ones that we need to fill out the deck. The other thing that we can do is, from PDC Magic, we can download the deck as a text file. And then over here, when we do add deck, we can import. And so we'll find this whiteweenie.txt file, choose our format again, do all the same stuff we did before, and it will take care of filling out the deck for us, for the most part. Now remember, we don't have Nyxborn Shieldmate, and we don't have a Crowan Skyguard. So you can see all of the yellow here. These are for the cards that we do not yet have. And we don't have that, and we don't have that guy. So there's quite a few cards that we need still. Since we have so few of these cards, really, I think we're just going to do this manually instead of importing it with the text file. So we can go ahead and delete this one for now, and this will give you sort of more of an idea of how we can add these in here. Alright, so we know we have Auramancers. Do we have any Hopeful Eidolons? Alright, so we have no Hopeful Eidolons. Do we have any Syndics? I don't believe so. Keening Apparition, Wingsteed Rider, Ethereal Armor, Pacifism. We have 3 Pacifisms. We can drag and drop to get them here. We can alternately right click and say, oh no, we don't want the trade binder, we want the deck. Stop that. That's weird. It doesn't usually do that. There we go. This is what it should say. Sometimes it gets a little confused. We can right click and we can do add 3 to deck. For land, you can add up to 10 at a time. We could also add them to the sideboard from here. So we can throw them in there. And we know we're going to need 4. No, we only need 2 Pacifisms for this deck, so 2 is fine. So we did Wingsteed Rider, God's Willing. No. Celestial Flare. Nope, we got to play with some of those. Oh yeah, we do have some. Alright, so we want 2 Celestial Flares. Smite. I don't think we have any Return to Ravnica cards, which Smite is. Planes. We automatically get planes. Planes come for free. So there's 50 of them. So we will add, and if we want to see if we have the same versions, we can do versions, show versions separately. And we can see that we really have lots of different versions. So if you're a stickler, you want all of the same, but we'll do 10 of these planes and 10 of these planes. So we have 2 different kinds of planes rather than 4. And we have our sort options over here. We can also display this in a list view if we want to, which I don't particularly like. We can display this in the pile view, which I do like, or we can display this in the card view, like this. I tend to use the pile view, most people do. We have the slider to change the size, and various ways you can sort. So if we were doing a multicolor deck, we could sort by color. If we wanted to look at our curve, we can sort by converted mana cost or rarity. I like to sort by converted mana cost for the most part. Let's see if we have any of the sideboard cards. We're looking for Razor Tip Whip. No. Revoke Existence. No. Beckon Apparition. No. Last Breath. We do have 1 Last Breath, and that goes in our sideboard. Divine Favor. We do have Divine Favor. We want 2 of those. And we're going to take, actually, 1 more Celestial Flare goes in the sideboard, and 1 more Pacifism goes in the sideboard. Alright. So we have an idea here of what we have already, which is a little bit of this deck, and we're going to go grab the rest of it. Alright, so now we're going to go back to the trade window. Remember, we do have our tickets in the active trade binder, which is what we're going to use to get the rest of the cards we need. Now, your best place to start for Standard Pauper is going to be the cheapest bot you can get. And the cheapest bot that I'm aware of is the halfpenny bot, and then after that the penny bot. And if after I'm done with those, if I haven't gotten everything that I need, then I can move up to usually the MTGO Traders bot, or sometimes some of the other bots. So let's add these guys as buddies, or at least the halfpenny bot, and we'll start a trade here. And we're going to see how many other cards he has. Now these are standards. I'm sorry, these are standard commons. So we should be able to get quite a few here. There's the M12, there's the M14. I like the format to match. So we need 1 more Auramancer. Hopeful Eidolon. You've got plenty of those. Yep. Okay, Syndic of Tithes. Yep, add 4 to trade. Keening Apparition. We only need 3, but since I'm here and they have them, I'm going to get the playset. Wingsteed Rider. Yep, again, we only need 3, but I'm going to just go ahead and grab a playset while I'm here, because I liked having playsets of cards. Ethereal Armor. 4 of those, please. God's Willing. Yep. We'll get 4 of those. We have our Celestial Flares. We have our Pacifisms. Smite. That's a cool smite. We have all sorts of smites to choose from. So this is the most recent smite. Haha. Gerard, Smiting Volrath. Kind of like this one though. And these are all a halfpenny, bear in mind, so it doesn't matter which ones we pick necessarily. Price-wise, it's all up to what you enjoy. We'll get some Razor Tip Whips. Revoke Existence. We'll take the new one. Beckon Apparition. Last Breath. I forget, did we have any? And we can go back and forth between. We had 1 Last Breath between our trade window and our collection window. So I think we only had one last breath. So I'm going to grab 3 to fill out our playset. Divine Favor, I think we had plenty. Celestial Flare, we had plenty. And everything else looks good. Alright, so these are the cards we need to fill out our deck and sideboard. We can see to put this deck together, we have 0 store credits. They're going to take 22 cents. So he's going to take a ticket because everything works in tickets, and we'll have 78 cents left in credit for the half-penny bot, which in terms of standard pauper decks means that we can probably get another 156 cards to build other decks. So again, we'll hit done. In the window, he's going to take that. We'll come down here and hit submit. We'll get to the confirmation screen and just double check, and we'll hit confirm trade. Here's the cards that were added to our collection. And now we can come back in here and we can add the rest of the cards we need. Make this a little bit smaller so we can give ourselves a little more space up here. Alright, so we want 4 Hopeful Eidolons. Sorry, that was bothering me. Syndic, we want 4 Syndic of Tithes. Keening Apparition, 3. Wingsteed Rider. And so you can double click 3 times. You could alternately add 4 and take 1 out. Those are the best ways to do any numbers that are not 4. Ethereal Armor, 4. God's Willing, 4. We have our Celestial Flares, Pacifisms, Smites. Oh, we forgot our Nyxborn Shieldmate and our Crowan Skyguard. Alright, let's come back over here to our half-penny bot again. And these are the cards. Whoop, if I can spell that right. Alright, so there's some Skyguards and there's our Shieldmates. Good. And again, so we hit done, boom, hit submit, hit confirm. He's not taking anything because that comes straight out of the credit that we had with him. And so we can see existing credit 78, spend 4 cents, now we have 74. We can close that out. Alright, so those are some of the cards we're missing. Nyxborn, we want 4 of you. Again, a Crowan. Add 4, we're up 58. What are we missing? Our Smites. 2. Alright, so now we have a White Weenie deck. Oh, we need to fill out our sideboard. Razor Tip Whips. Add 4. Sideboard's all the way over here, so sometimes I just like to add 4 like that. Revoke Existence. Three of those. Beckon Apparition. Three of those. We need 1 more. Last Breath. Yonk. Alright. Okay, so there's our sideboard. And here's our deck. And we're all set. So this is saved automatically. We don't have to do anything to save it. It's there. If we log in to our account from any computer that has the beta client, it will automatically be there. So long as you're logging into the same account. Your cards will be there and your decks will be there. We can export this if we wanted to share it. And we can do it either as a .dec or we could save it as a text file or a comma separated value spreadsheet, CSV. Now that we have our deck, let's go play around a standard pauper. So remember, we're going to go to the play lobby. We're going to choose constructed because this is a constructed deck, and pretty much all of the standard pauper happens in the Just for Fun room. We'll select our deck here, which is White Weenie, and we can do some stuff. So we're looking for a one-on-one. That's going to be automatic unless we pick something else. We can try and pick 2v2 or other stuff here. The format is automatically chosen when we choose our deck, so we don't have to deal with that. Buddies and watchers. So you can choose if only your buddies can be opponents or everybody, and whether or not people can watch you play. And match options we can choose. But we're going to jump into this match anyway with Elusive Will, since he's here waiting for us. And that means we're playing on his settings. There is a trick that you can tell if people are playing the beta client or not, in that if the round time is set at 25 minutes, that's usually the beta client, and if it's set at 30 minutes, that's usually the V2 or the older client. So we got no land here, so we want to mulligan because we're not going to be able to cast anything. This is better, though we have two guys with heroic and nothing to put on them. But we got 3 land and we got stuff to cast, so it could be far worse. He's going to take our flare, so we can see the duress, and our hand automatically highlights the one card that he can get, which I think is kind of cool. I think that's a John Laux thing. He's done some improvements to the MTGO client, and I feel like some of that highlighting and target and helpful text and stuff on cards is from his efforts. Ethereal Armor is going to be good, but we can't cast it. So we'll play a Plains, and I hit F6 to pass the turn. Remember, we have a F2 to jump from one step to another, F6 to just pass everything, and F3 if we want to stop whatever auto yields we have set. So I'm going to F6 through his turn. We're on our turn 2 now. And we'll go ahead and get the Akroan Skyguard. He's playing blue-black control, so we can more or less expect a lot of our stuff to die. We have some God's Willings in our deck, which is going to help keep our creatures alive, but we have to track those down. So Ethereal Armor is not going to be a good play right now. Shieldmate's pretty good. Yeah. But there goes that guy. So we'll grab a Wingsteed Rider. We'll just keep getting guys and hope he runs out of removal before we run out of things to try and beat him about the face with. Isn't that always the plan? I think we'll just attack, and then we'll get our other Wingsteed Rider. It's a tough choice, but I want to diversify my threats a little bit. I feel like he's sitting back there with a counter spell. So maybe we don't play into the counter spell, but then he just kills this guy. So eventually at some point we have to, right? And that guy resolves. He's being very controlling, which is to say, not doing anything. Alright, we got plenty of our land. We'll see if we can't bestow this on this guy. Okay, we have a 2-turn clock without doing anything. Alright, well he may have gotten a little flooded, so we know we're playing against blue-black control. We want to revoke existence because chances are he's going to come at us with razor tip whips, and we're going to add our own razor tip whips as well. And we may bring in beckon apparitions simply because ethereal armor is not going to be great. God's willing, hopeful eidolon. These smite's not going to be great. Keening apparition. Pacifism's not going to be great. And celestial flare. So we're getting rid of our removal package, more or less. I don't know if he has any creatures in there. We'll see. We're bringing in our razor tip whips and our revoke existences. So the revoke existence basically blows up his razor tip whip, and then if we need to, we'll beat him down with our razor tip whips. All just by removing removal. Maybe we should have kept one ethereal armor instead of celestial flare, but he may have some creatures to attack with. Alright, so we have a 1-lander. That's pretty rotten. Well, we're going to mulligan. We want to try and hit at least 2 land. Or 1 land and some better stuff. Whoa. Alright. We'll go for it. We don't have any land here. But if we go lower than 4, there's not really any point. We have our whips, which is going to be the hardest thing for him to remove, so if that's what we have to do, that's what we do. We have plenty of time to draw a land, right? Then one will show up. It's not like he's going to kill us while we're waiting, so. Uh-oh, is it a creature? He does have creatures. He tricked us last game. Still no land. It's pretty rough. Alright, and this is why people don't like Magic. It really just comes down to mana screw. Makes people frustrated. What? It's a blue-black mill deck. This changes everything. Alright. I'm hitting F6 so that he can go ahead and go. We got a plains, and we're gonna cast. Why not? He's not gonna do anything else. He's gonna sit out here and be a little. He's gonna be hopeful. He hopes he can do something. But chances are, we sideboarded improperly for this matchup. Yeah. I'm going to guess this is a blue-black mill deck, which is creature-based, with silly cipher effects. So this changes everything, but we're going to get as much information as we can get from his deck. I wonder why you put that on this guy. It's weird. Oh, that guy's unblockable. That's why. Creature you control. No. Yes, sir. Alright. And we drew a Syndic. That's fine. So we're going to God's Willing. Getting information. He's got plenty of things, and bring all my removal back in. So I guess the scry, put it on top. We have no blockers. Yep. Okay, we want to scry until after. Hey. You. Ha. Blue. You're no good. Go on the bottom. That didn't help. Alright, have we seen enough of his deck yet? We'll see more if we can. We'll let him take his time. He's got lots of crosstown couriers. He, of course, is seeing more of our deck, too. So, I think we'll just concede at this point. We have a pretty good idea of what he has. He has a pretty good idea of what we have, too. But he's seeing more stuff than we are, because he's seeing everything going into our graveyard. So, lots of blue guys. We didn't see if he had very many black creatures. But all the removals coming back in. Alright, I don't think he has as much removal as I was afraid he had, so that's something. I don't care about Revoke Existence as much because I'm just going to kill his dudes. So we're sort of back where we started, I think. And I think that's really the best version of our deck. We did take out the Ethereal Armors and brought in more removal. I think that's a good way to go. Alright, so we're going to be on the play this time. We're going to try and hit 2 land. This deck doesn't really want to work on 1 land that much. Alright, I'm going to keep 4 land. We'll see what we can do. Now we'll just draw more land, of course. So we'll grab our Syndic. Ooh. Yep, we're not doing that. No extort for us. No attacking for us either. We don't want our 2/2 to run into his 3/3 in a dark alley or on a lonely pier. These guys are creepy. I like how all the zombies in Theros have gold masks. It's quite cool. Okay, he's keeping his mana open. It's fine. We'll go right over his head. That's fine too. We'll just tap 2 at a time. we still get to extort you. And you cleared out some planes for us, so that's fine too. Psychic Strike. I wonder if he has like a transformative sideboard. Okay. Alright, well, you can keep hitting him for 2 every round. That's one way to win. Sacrifice the guy that can't hit you in the face. And of course we have the piece of removal we probably should have taken out. But if he's hitting us for 5 and we're hitting him for 2, it's not looking too hot for us. It's interesting. Okay, he still didn't attack us. Oromancer doesn't do anything right now. I don't particularly want to throw her down there. She's a wizard, not a rogue. Awesome art, of course, by Rebecca Gay. Gway. I should throw her down there, though. She should be there. That was a mistake. He's going to grab a smite. And there's nothing I can really do about that. Awkward draws for White Weenie, which should be much more consistent, really. He's going to draw some cards. Oh, good. Thank you for getting rid of those planes. It's 4 planes you helped us get past. No blockers. Yes, you may tap or untap cards. I like hidden strings. I like it's being used. It's interesting. Not another planes. That's horrible. Alright. I assume he has a counterspell for the Oromancer. Let's assume that he's going to have that anyway. Let's make him use it on this. Psychic Strike. Essence Scatter. Psychic Strike. Last Breath. Last Breath would have been pretty good. Okay, we're getting him down to 11. And he's got 1 card, and we've got 1 card. He knows what our 1 card is. Scry 2, but it's not card advantage, so that's something. We'll hit F6 because we don't have any stops on his turn. We're not blocking anything. And you notice that even when you F6, you still have that option to declare blockers. It will never skip over that without giving you the choice. What? Alright. Our white deck is being really dumb with its land. I am frustrated. So he put one card on bottom and one card on top when he scryed too. So he's getting a card he likes one way or another. I'm not getting anything I like. Nothing. It's horrible. God's Willing would have been really nice to have in my hand. Yeah. That's the card that he liked. And that is a good card because it pretty much stops us for the moment. Yep, come on, white deck. There's only 20 land. We've seen 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we've seen over half our land, moreover less than a third of the way through our deck. It's just annoying, especially after the one-lander situation. One-lander that we eventually got. Finicky Cipher. God, we just have to cast the Eidolon, right? It doesn't do anything if we just cast it, though. It doesn't help at all. I can't block this guy anyway. And he can't attack anyway. So the Eidolon's not it. We'll just keep on passing. It's looking bad for us, though. You're really choosing not to attack with that Phalanx. Yep. We'll keep hitting F6 because we got nothing right now. Any piece of removal that deals with that Death Cult Rogue will set us back on track. And we should have plenty, really. We put it all back. He's making a mistake not attacking with this Phalanx. Why not? Make his choices a little bit harder. And leave Smite up. Let me smite something. Oh. We should have, of course, waited, but it's okay. I got excited. I wanted to block her, just in case. Can't be blocked. Neither of you are rogues. Never hurts to check. We're F6ing some more. He's untapping some more. He's scrying some more. He put it on the bottom. So he's untapping his guys. He's going to cast his Hands of Binding. He's going to hit that Skyguard. Yeah, which means I can get our Wingsteed Rider back. And we draw another piece of shit planes. I apologize for my language, but that is frustrating right there. It's frustrating. Yeah. Why is he not attacking with that? I don't understand. Oh, there's another Hands of Binding. That's good. He's going to put it on the Death Cult Rogue, so we still just need one piece of removal to change this. One piece of removal that's not Smite, which I shouldn't have put in. Razor Tip Whip would have been better in Smite, or Ethereal Armor. Anything. We're not blocking. Yeah. He's still not attacking with that Phalanx, giving us plenty of time to come up with an answer. And he could have a Psychic Strike in his hand, so if we have an answer to this guy, he could just plan on counterspelling it. Maybe he'll run out of time dealing with all his finicky Cypher triggers. Is this guy just going on the ground? Block that? We can't block that Omen Speaker. We can't block shit. We can block this guy if he attacks. I really can't believe that we're not getting any of our removal. Last Breath is gone, but there's lots of other stuff in here that would be fine. Also not a rogue. It's a shame. Yep. Alright, well, we're running out of chances here. Put a card on top, so we got something good coming. We're gonna go to 4. We still can't block anything. It's frustrating because I feel like our deck's better than his deck, but our deck drew really bad. For 2 games in a row. Pardon my weird, annoying, loud dog. I guess we can either cast a Hopeful Eidolon or bestow a Hopeful Eidolon. A 2/3 is not super helpful though. So we'll just cast this guy. It's not going to help. We're not attacking, just in case we need to block 2 dudes. He's got something else coming on top that's going to make our life somewhat miserable, though, I'm sure. Tap and attack. There we go. Alright. Good games is the standard. We do not have scripts in the beta client, so we have to type our own little messages, which is okay. We'll just F6, we'll take the damage here before all the Cypher things happen, so we don't have to deal with all those. I like letting people win if I can, especially when it comes to the end of the match. Nope. Nope. There we go. Seriously, my god. Alright, well that was a little rough, but we did get to play with our White Weenie deck, and it could have gone better, but bad draws happen as part of Magic. Still good though. I feel like our deck could have been very strong actually, and should have been a little more consistent than what we saw right there. But we got to prove our point. We have what, 70 cents of credit left, so we spent like less than a third of a ticket, maybe a quarter of a ticket, and we put together a standard Pauper deck. And there's a lot more standard Pauper decks too. Check out pdcmagic.com, and if you're just here at the home page, you can see some of the most recent events. If you're looking at decks, you can also see people who built the decks, and you can see their history. And you can also come in and see other events. So here's the 24. You can see the season 24 master document. You can also come in and see the season 23 master document, and that's also going to have the, not the standings. There we go. There we go. If you can make it to the season 23 standings, most of these decks are still also legit for standard Pauper. So you've got another 13 events here that you can check out. You can see some of the big names and stuff that they've played in various events. And you can see all sorts of cool decks. Black Flickergate, those were the days. Ghostly Flicker, of course, is gone. But if we're near the end, you can see, for instance, that Forley in the 23-13 beat Green, White, Blue Hexproof, White Weenie, and Izzet with this White Weenie deck. It was very similar to our White Weenie deck. Is it the same as our White Weenie deck? More or less. So check that out, or use MTG Gatherer and brew your own deck. Also an excellent option. So I hope this is helpful. Go forth, construct your own decks. You can do it super cheap for standard Pauper. You can also do it really cheap for classic Pauper, though there are some cards that are quite expensive in classic Pauper. But if you avoid those, you should be alright. I'm Bava, and this is Magic Gathering Strat. Thanks for watching this introduction to Magic the Gathering Online Part 3, and I'll catch y'all again real soon.